Jamaica's police commissioner suddenly steps down,
The real reason for the sudden retirement of Police Commissioner Owen Ellington.
leaving a cloud of mystery.
The powers that be suggest, I'd say the American powers, they've been uncomfortable with Owen Ellington for some time.
Did Owen Ellington's personal relationships brush Jamaica's international partners the wrong way?
I think the indictment of his close associate, Richards, was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
And then,
Can you categorically say then the US had nothing to do with his resignation or sudden retirement?
we asked Jamaica's Minister of National Security, Peter Bunting, about Ellington's sudden resignation. And later, the Caribbean island where country music is king.
You wake up with country music, you go to bed with country music.
Who knew you could skip Nashville or Texas and line dance right here in the Caribbean? All these stories and more on this episode of 18 Degrees North.
"18 Degrees North" is brought to you by
Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean. Variety is the spice of life, and Rainforest Seafoods brings you the widest and best choices of fish and seafood, flash frozen to seal in all the natural goodness until ready to cook. It's really fresher than fresh. That's a fish fact from Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean.
Hello, I'm Zara Burton and welcome to 18 Degrees North. It's from right here in Kingston, Jamaica, 18 degrees north of the equator, that every week we're going to take you on a global journey with us as we bring you Caribbean stories that have global impact. And we begin our show with Jamaica's former police commissioner, Owen Ellington, who suddenly announced his retirement in June 2014. One of the reasons he gave was to separate himself from a commission of inquiry into the deadly actions of security forces in West Kingston in 2010. Most Jamaicans believed then, and still do, that there was more to this retirement story. We may never know the full reason, but 18 Degrees North has learned that some personal affiliations of Mr. Ellington may have made Jamaica's international partners uncomfortable. We're staying 18 degrees north and 77 degrees west as our team of reporters in Jamaica and the United States seeks answers to the questions so many have asked. Late 2009 to 2010, murders hit a record high in Jamaica, scores of allegations of police brutality, and an all-out war between security forces and residents of Tivoli Gardens in Kingston that left at least 70 people dead as drug kingpin Christopher Judas Coke was being extradited to the United States. Owen Lloyd Ellington was the man at the helm to get all of it under control.
Christopher Lloyd Coke was arrested this afternoon at 4.
It was a role in which he thrived, according to his former professor at the University of the West Indies.
I think he was one of the most effective, probably the most effective commissioner we've had in a very long time.
By 2011, he had fired hundreds of corrupt cops, instituted more training, and murders dropped 33%.
Commissioner Owen Ellington.
Ellington was named the Gleaner's Man of the Year.
I think this is a big boost for me and my leadership, but certainly a big boost for the men and women who want to be sure that the public appreciates the work that they're doing.
Then 3 years later, amid allegations of death squads in the force and the threat of international funding being withdrawn, his sudden resignation.
There are more questions this afternoon about the real reason for the sudden retirement of Police Commissioner Owen Ellington.
It was a move that caught most people off guard.
I was surprised. I didn't know that he was planning this.
Questions swirled as just 11 days earlier, the public learned Ellington's close associate had been indicted in the US for cocaine-related charges.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Owen Ellington.
It had taken Ellington 30 years to land the top job, having been passed over before. A 2008 WikiLeaks document originating from the American Embassy in Kingston revealed that then Prime Minister Bruce Golding chose Ellington to be commissioner in 2007, but there was no international support. While Ellington was seen as intelligent and capable, the cable said he was suspected of having links to criminal organizations. University of Miami adjunct law professor David Rowe is a longtime commentator on U.S.-Caribbean relations.
The powers that be suggest, the American powers I'm talking about, that they've been uncomfortable with Owen Ellington for some time.
That concern was confirmed to 18 Degrees North by former Assistant Commissioner of Police for Anti-Corruption Justin Felice. He says he warned Ellington more than once about his questionable associations. The WikiLeaks cable shows that Felice had even pulled together a file on Ellington's extracurricular activities.
He, unfortunately, was implicated in Jamaica in a fraud matter going back many years ago. And he was associated at that time with a man called Richards.
Errol Cliff Richards, nicknamed Schoolboy Richie, met Ellington in 1980 at training school, then in Port Royal. According to Richards' testimony in the late 90s, the two became very close friends. Richards making his mark on the streets of downtown as a notorious crime fighter. Ellington fast-tracked to superintendent and handpicked to work in the then commissioner's office.
He started at the very bottom and extremely bright and capable man.
They fought crime together, hung out together, and even flouted police rules together. Both men admitting in court documents they were reprimanded for renting cars they had bought using a tax discount provided to police officers. It was one of these cars, similar to that pictured here, that prosecutors said was falsely reported stolen by Richards. He and Ellington were charged with conspiracy to defraud a local insurance company, along with Richards' common-law wife, Janice Bernard. The charges meant both men were suspended without pay from the force. While on suspension and facing charges in Jamaica, Richards continued to break the rules. In 1996, he registered a shipping company in Florida named Lamar, and prosecutors said at the time had traveled abroad repeatedly without the knowledge and permission of the court. He eventually got permission. Turns out, though he had surrendered one passport, Richards held a U.S. green card and other passports, one stamped with several trips to Panama and Belize, plus the Bahamas, Honduras, and the United States. Richards and Bernard were eventually found guilty and sentenced to 1 year in prison. The court found Ellington had no case to answer. After his attorney Richard Small argued he no longer owned the car.
He transferred his interest in the car from himself to Mr. Richards and Miss Bernard long before they were involved in the wrongdoing that the prosecution was alleging.
Richards was booted from the force, but he and Ellington have remained friends, according to several of their mutual associates. When Richards got married in 2006, years later at Sandals Duns River in Jamaica, one Owen Ellington signed as his witness, a signature resembling that of the then Assistant Commissioner of Police. And even in 2012, documents show relatives of both Richards and Ellington were co-owners of this unmarked security company named Millennium, registered in 1998 when the two men were suspended from the force and still in operation today. Listed are Ellington's wife Shirley, along with one Devon Richards, a second cousin of Errol whose relations we tracked through a genealogy search at Jamaica's Registrar General's Department. Devon disposed of his shares in 2012, and efforts to contact him were unsuccessful. The friendship between Ellington and Errol Richards may have never become an issue had Richards not been arrested for violating U.S. narcotics laws years later.
The mere accusation of a known associate of the Jamaican Commissioner of Police is a very serious matter.
In 2014, Richards was charged alongside another ex-Jamaican police officer, Devon Wheatley. The indictment against Richards was unsealed on June 19th. 11 days later,
Ellington's retirement was announced.
Mr. Ellington says he wishes to separate himself from the leadership of the force before the start of the West Kingston inquiry and allow for Indicom's death squad probe without any perception of interference.
It was not a major surprise to Professor David Rowe, given that international partners had invested millions of dollars to fight crime in Jamaica.
The Caribbean-based security initiative is supposed to promote maritime and aerial security in Jamaica, which is funded by the United States to the tune of 203 million United States dollars. Now, when the senior police officer in Jamaica is associated with an individual who is engaged in the sale of cocaine to the United States and is indicted by a federal grand jury, this has a very embarrassing impact on United States foreign policy with respect to Jamaica.
With international partners already very concerned about the extrajudicial killings by Jamaican police while Ellington was at the helm, Richards was yet another smear on his record.
I think the indictment of his close associate, Richards, was like the straw that broke the camel's back and led to Ellington's resignation and the revocation of his American visa.
While the U.S. Embassy in Kingston wouldn't officially confirm the visa revocation, an unnamed source within the expatriate community confirmed to 18 Degrees North that Ellington's U.S. and U.K. visa had been revoked but could not say why. Ellington, when contacted, referred us to his lawyer, who we could not reach. There is no proof Owen Ellington committed any crime, and Clayton also says it's unfair to judge a cop by the company he keeps.
We don't have guilt by association. It's very difficult to get to a senior position in the Jamaica Police Force without knowing some criminals. You wouldn't be doing your job if you didn't know some criminals. But that's a far cry from saying that you're actually involved in any way in any kind of criminal activity with them.
So was there more to Ellington's resignation? Keep watching 18 Degrees North as we continue to investigate the sudden departure of Owen Ellington.
So was there pressure from the United States for the former police commissioner of Jamaica to resign?
I think you would need to speak to Mr. Ellington and the US to understand the relationship that they had.
Up next, Minister of National Security Peter Bunting speaks about the island's relationship with the United States amid allegations of death squads in the police force while Ellington was at the helm.
Be heart strong. You can reduce your chances of getting heart disease by eating more fish. In fact, seafood is likely the single most important food you can consume for good health. That's a fish fact from Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean. Get good value every day. When you eat fish twice a week, you get an excellent source of protein. Good for the whole family. Fish is quick, easy, affordable, and scales high on value. A fish fact from Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean.
Are you a man over 40 and feeling tired, losing muscle, have less romantic drive? Then call now for the Ageless Male Free Testosterone Giveaway. For the first time ever, not just 100 or 1,000, but every man who calls in the next few minutes will receive a free 30-day supply of Ageless Male. Ageless Male has ingredients clinically shown to increase free testosterone levels, and that supports muscle health, boosts romantic drive, and supports energy metabolism. Even though we've already sold over 800,000 bottles of Ageless Male, this is the first time ever we're offering Ageless Male for free. All you pay is shipping and handling. More muscle, more romantic drive, more energy. And it all starts with this amazing offer, the Ageless Male Free Testosterone Giveaway. Your free 30-day supply is waiting for you. Call now.
Don't delay. This is a limited time offer. Call 1-800-473-7364 to secure your free bottle today. That's 1-800-473-7364. Call now.
In August 2014, Jamaica's Minister of National Security, Peter Bunting, vowed to stamp out corruption and organized crime. But with whose help? In a country where police officers are among the least trusted, according to a survey by Vanderbilt University, how exactly does he plan to do it? We sat down with the security minister himself, Peter Bunting, at his office in Kingston for some perspective.
Recently, you came out and said that you too wanted to stamp out corruption. What was the impetus for that? Did the US ask you to get involved in that component?
Not in particular. We started the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency. And we started it as a task force back in 2012. And in 2014, we combined it with the anti-corruption branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force. Already we're starting to see them having an impact. Certainly the sort of impunity that certain criminals enjoyed, certain public sector officials enjoyed, that impunity no longer exists. It's an agency that gets a lot of support from our international partners.
How much does the US give to the Jamaica Constabulary Force each year?
If we look over the medium term, between the JCF and all the other programs to do with violence prevention, anti-corruption, law enforcement, it's tens of millions of US dollars over time.
Who gives the most, the US, the UK, or Canada?
All three are very significant donors, and I would say they're in the same sort of order of magnitude.
Under the Leahy Act, has funding for the Jamaican Constabulary Force been rescinded in part or in whole?
That is not my understanding. The US manages its support to foreign law enforcement agencies in accordance with their laws, one of which affects it is the Leahy Act. At the time when the public defender's report on the whole Tivoli Gardens operation in 2010 was published, there were concerns raised by the US. Since that time, the government has committed to the Commission of Inquiry. My sense is that they are satisfied with the efforts being made. Whatever pause may have been put on any assistance while they went through this process, I think that is all behind us now. There's no
So there was a
sense
pause in funding, that's what you're saying?
My information is that there's no delay or no negative impact on any of the overall programs to the JCF.
There was a WikiLeaks document, I think it's dating back to 2008. The US at that time had expressed some concerns about Owen Ellington when he was being considered for commissioner. Did you ever get any questions from the United States about Ellington serving as your police commissioner?
That WikiLeaks article would have been way before my time, as you're aware, so I can't speak with any first-hand knowledge. We share intelligence with our international partners, but they share intelligence to us and we share it with them from time to time. But as a policy, we don't comment on that intelligence. So whether, I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Owen Ellington, it's been reported, has had a long-time association with Schoolboy Richie, who used to be a police officer as well, and he's now facing drug-related charges in the United States. Was that a concern for you?
That really didn't arise until just about the time when the commissioner resigned. So it was not even an issue under discussion. Whether it would have been a concern or not would be speculation.
Can you categorically say then the US had nothing to do with his resignation or sudden retirement?
I think you would need to speak to Mr. Ellington and the US to understand the relationship that they had. I am not in a position to comment on that.
He was not pushed, he was not gently pushed?
He resigned on his own volition.
Is he under, from what you know, any investigation at this point?
I'm not aware of that.
And you don't know of any, there's so many rumors out there about extradition warrants potentially being signed?
I am not aware of anything like that.
The latest pick, I should say, Mr. Williams. Was he, I'm asking, vetted or approved by the US?
I keep hearing a lot being attributed to the United States or the international partners asking for this or that. In my experience, there has been nothing that they would like to see that is inconsistent with what this administration would also like to see and is pursuing.
Thank you so very much. Coming up on 18 Degrees North, the Caribbean island where locals are hooked on country.
You wake up with country music, you go to bed with country music.
Who knew you could skip Nashville or Texas and stay right here in the Caribbean to do-si-do? When we come back on 18 Degrees North.
The preceding segment was brought to you by
Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean. Here is an amazing fish fact. The omega-3 fatty acids present in fish have great health benefits on the brain, eyes, nerves, muscles, and the heart. Eating fish and seafood contribute to a longer, healthier life. Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean. Be heart strong. You can reduce your chances of getting heart disease by eating more fish. In fact, seafood is likely the single most important food you can consume for good health. That's a fish fact from Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean.
Are you a man over 40 and feeling tired, losing muscle, have less romantic drive? Then call now for the Ageless Male Free Testosterone Giveaway. For the first time ever, not just 100 or 1,000, but every man who calls in the next few minutes will receive a free 30-day supply of Ageless Male. Ageless Male has ingredients clinically shown to increase free testosterone levels, and that supports muscle health, boosts romantic drive, and supports energy metabolism. Even though we've already sold over 800,000 bottles of Ageless Male, this is the first time ever we're offering Ageless Male for free. All you pay is shipping and handling. More muscle, more romantic drive, more energy. And it all starts with this amazing offer, the Ageless Male Free Testosterone Giveaway. Your free 30-day supply is waiting for you. Call now.
Don't delay. This is a limited time offer. Call 1-800-473-7364 to secure your free bottle today. That's 1-800-473-7364. Call now.
A country club in the Caribbean. Polo, tennis, or golf come to mind. But in St. Lucia, country club takes on a more literal meaning. Country and Western nightclubs have transformed the local lifestyle. For this next story, you may want to dust off your cowboy boots because we're heading to St. Lucia at 14 degrees north and 61 degrees west, where Dale Elliott examines his country's obsession with country.
Jamaica has Bob Marley. Trinidad has Sparrow. But for St. Lucia, it's country star L.M. Stone. St. Lucia is the Caribbean capital of country music, and Stone is its lone star.
You wake up with country music, you go to bed with country music. That's why I can tell you country music is stuck onto me.
Turn on any radio station and it seems country has islanders hooked.
I don't wanna play house.
Local disc jockeys turn out old-timers like Tammy Wynette,
You got to know.
and Kenny Rogers. And the chosen sound at local fundraisers and mothers and fathers group functions? You guessed it, country. On weekends, roadside bars transform into Nashville palaces. Legitimate and not so legitimate couples flock to local dance halls. Some clasp hands and smile. Many sing along with that special someone. And if you're single, don't worry. Country ensures you won't stand alone for too long.
A woman will want to dance a slow tune with you, but she will want to dance a country and western dance with you, any of them.
St. Lucia's obsession with country and western music began during World War II in the 1940s. The US Army built 2 bases on the south of the island, and American GIs played their music via shortwave radio. Then again, in the 70s, a wave of St. Lucians went to Florida to cut cane, and when they returned, they brought more country. Since then, American country stars like John Hogan and Mo Bandy have even performed on the island.
A lot of the stories, like I said, in the songs, really related to the life that our forefathers lived. The drinking, cheating, they came home late, and so on.
No, I'm not with him anymore.
Outside the club, longtime DJs do their part to ensure this music love affair continues. And don't play the rock and pop-infused jams of Faith Hill. On this island, contemporary is out. George Jones from the 60s, though now dead, is still in.
The contemporary, the rebel country, the rock, they have not been able to hook onto it because it's very, very difficult to dance this for.
But despite the popularity of country, there are still some locals who believe American music shouldn't dominate the local airwaves. Just listen to this artist who says calypso, native to the Caribbean, should rule in St. Lucia, not country.
Invasion now in St. Lucia, music of a different culture, come to take over. New addictions I see these days, country and western is the craze that have me amazed.
But local country star Ellen Stone says music has no boundaries.
I don't believe any music to be racist or this belongs to this set of people or this set of music was created by the Creator.
You got to know when to hold, know when to fold.
For this St. Lucian cowboy and thousands of others, the three-step and the honky-tonk are likely to stay, uniting a country, young and old, as one generation waltzes into the other.
And you can see more of our interview with Jamaica's National Security Minister, Peter Bunting, online at www.18degreesnorth.tv. So this is where we bring 18 Degrees North to a close for this week. Join us online, look us up on Twitter or on Facebook. We're there to keep all of us connected to the Caribbean. From all of us here at 18 Degrees North, thanks so much for joining us, and see you next time.
"18 Degrees North" is a production of Global Reporters for the Caribbean in association with
Rainforest Seafoods, fresh from the ocean.